Hey everybody, welcome to What Drives Us, episode 407 for Wednesday, March 10th, 2021. My name is Russell Frost, and I have the good fortune to be your host for this week's adventure into advanced tech mobility and sustainable energy. And look at this amazing panel. Yay! Let's introduce them and get this show on the road. My co-host, Georgia McKenzie.
Hey everybody, we're really glad to have you here with us tonight. I'm going to throw it back to Russell because I'm tired.
What you drinking?
Oh, what am I drinking? I am drinking a Virgil's Diet Root Beer because I'm too lame to drink beer. What do you want?
No, it's root beer. It counts.
Okay,
I'll give you
I'm a big girl.
Root beer is not lame in any way, okay? Especially diet root beer. I approve. Speaking of approval, he never seeks my approval, but nonetheless, he manages to somehow stumble on Mr. Mark Coughlin.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. I don't look for Russell's approval. There's just no getting
Ever.
it. There's no.
I thought you were going to go with this. Speaking of diet, Mark Coughlin.
Oh,
Patrick,
you know what?
The king. Let me tell you.
I'm just
Show
Patrick.
titles and subways into other subjects. I tell you.
Why am I hosting this show? Which
I
is
don't
something most of our viewers ask every week. Why is Russell in charge of that show? Yeah, that's a good question that will probably never be answered. Speaking of questions that will never be answered, our friend and expert on the superchargers in the Mid-Atlantic region, Mr. Kacey Green.
So I had some Thai tea, but I ran out. So now I'm just drinking the Coke Zero.
Mm.
Code
Yes.
Zero? What is that?
Coke Zero.
What is that code for? Oh, Coke Zero. I thought you said Code Zero. I was like,
Code Zero.
is that like a new Mountain Dew drink? Because they come out with a new drink every day, it seems
Code
like.
Red, Code
Yeah.
Zero. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It was a balmy 70 degrees, and Elon's tempted me with a button of my own to push. So we'll see.
There you go. Our friend in the Northwest, he is, as he's already demonstrated, our expert on segues and show titles, Mr. Patrick Connor.
Hello, everybody. I've got some dragon's milk out there. Yep, and let's see if we can hear it. Just a moment of silence, just to. There we go. It's a little some beer porn noise for you all listeners.
Milk of dragons.
Yeah. Why do I have to go to the bathroom suddenly? That's so not right. That is so not right.
Hey, welcome everybody to our Formula 409, or is it 407? Which one are we on?
407.
Yeah, YouTube immediately hides this video because it's got the P word at the beginning of the show.
I guess we're gonna have to wait 2 more episodes for Formula 409.
We will indeed, but soon. And speaking of soon, he is our technical expert and the founder and owner of Boulder Hybrids in Boulder, Colorado, Mr. Paul Guzik.
Hey, glad to be back. I'm having some headphone issues. Hopefully you can hear me good.
We hear you.
Get the show on the road.
Let's go. Well, let's get the show on the road, and let's start with Mr. Kacey Green.
So I've got Russell's favorite story.
Get ready to drink.
No, we're just not even subtle about it anymore, are we? It's just wait for the hate. Wait for the hate.
I'm ready.
Drive Tesla Canada had some spy shots of the Las Vegas Loop Tunnel. It looks like they were putting some more trim on it because there's still no conventions in Vegas to ride the network. And we got some beautiful pictures. Oh, Tony's not here to show them.
Tony is not here to show them. And
Let me try.
and we missed that. Do you want me to put them up, Kacey?
Oh, that'd be awesome. Yeah, please.
Okay, I can do that. Let's see. Here's everyone. Oh, look at that. It's
very
pink.
tunnel.
It has white lines and a flat road.
It's
Yes, there's no divot in the middle anymore. and for those people who are saying that it won't work into Miami, look at those drains at the entrance.
Oh, dude, don't even go there with Miami. That's so sad.
Here's a map of the course. The solar panels. There's a map of the course. As it exists now, they're going to extend that across the street, as well as hopefully to the airport and to all the hotels. And then we can see here, they've got a nice place for you to load and unload in the sweltering desert sun. They got a little bit of solar shade for you. They've got the cutting wheel from the Godot that actually cut this the tunnel series for us.
Oh, that's kind of cool. Little museum built in there.
Yeah, and then over here is where you'll load up. More shots of the Godot.
Of the cutter head. Uh-oh.
Yes. And the other tunnel.
And it's
also pink.
It's so weird. It's a tunnel with a road in it.
Yeah.
Right.
Never been done before.
Well, not at this diameter, apparently. Because you don't.
Most tunnels are bigger.
Has anybody seen the tunnel?
Is the tunnel this small? I thought it was bigger.
It's way bigger.
Yeah.
Which makes it way more expensive. It's just the amount of matter that has to be removed is proportional to the cost.
There you go. So,
one thing with the picture there, with the mauve looking color.
Yeah.
Was it just me, or did that really look like a Bugs Bunny cartoon where the coyote would paint on the side of the rock face?
That's what they did. They actually haven't drilled it yet.
Wait till that first car.
Hopefully the radar doesn't override.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully the radar works. It just comes up and stops before it slams into it.
Oh no, that's so horrible.
Anyone thinking of Elon being childish with this coloring of these tunnels?
No, I mean the color doesn't. It's just
it's probably on an LED switch, so it'll be multiple colors. I'm sure they can make it green or blue or whatever.
You have a rave to kick it off.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's it's definitely a tunnel, boy. Look at that tunnel.
And it's boring.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was, Patrick.
Tunnelrific. I like it.
Can't wait to see those little cars driving in the tunnel.
At 150 miles an hour.
They're not going to go 150.
I don't think they'll do it at first, but that's what he promised.
Okay.
We'll see.
I got nothing.
We will see what we see.
Oh, come on, Russell. I'm thirsty. Say something.
I want to see the first one go unoccupied, of course, at 150 miles an hour into the painted wall.
Well, first they'll be running supervised. I don't know if they'll be driving themselves or if they'll just have somebody sitting there to take over. And then eventually they'll take out the driver and then take out the wheel. And that's what they said, allegedly.
So drunken conventioneers are going to get into unmanned vehicles.
We'll see if they can even work the door handles because they're mostly Model 3s.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did just see someone was trying to carjack somebody and they couldn't grab the door because it's a flush handle, and then the car drove off, and they're like, yay for flush handles.
And then he shot at like the meaty part of the car, so the bullet didn't actually injure anyone, thankfully.
Yeah.
Well, that's a story.
Yeah. All right,
And
next
then
story,
somebody
Russell.
suggested it was fake.
Let's move on.
There we go. Well, thank you, Kacey, for that story about the tunnel update in Las Vegas. Let's go to Georgia for a story about one of our favorite elements, hydrogen.
Well, the news is Siemens is going green. Green hydrogen, that is. So Monday, March 1st, they announced that they have accepted a U.S. Department of Energy grant to study their, I'm probably going to mispronounce it, electrolyzers.
Who knows? Yeah.
So what's really cool about this is kind of a collaborative effort to design, build, and test a compressor system to integrate hydrogen into existing fossil fuel generation. Oh, and there we go.
And there it is.
Sorry, but so Mitsubishi Power won the contract to supply the turbines, but Siemens Energy is working to create the hydrogen to fuel them. They're also supplying the steam turbines alongside with the GE gas-fired turbines for a 65 million, 20 megawatt green hydrogen project being built by Florida Power and Light. That project is going to try to turn excess solar into hydrogen to augment the natural gas supply for the
Okeechobee.
Okeechobee
Lake
power
Okeechobee.
plant. Okeechobee. And
Okeechobee.
it could be online by 2023. But I mean, this is a pretty nice development. I think it's great that they're willing to put this kind of energy into it. We do need to look at power sources, and hydrogen is one of them. Making it green now seems to be pretty challenging when you look at the efficiencies, because they're talking about something like 40 to 50% the cost to turn clean electricity into hydrogen, burning the hydrogen to generate power. 40 to 50% level of efficiency, that's an issue there. So Siemens also has another project with Duke and Clemson where they're trying to test the value of capturing the excess heat from a 15 megawatt turbine to supply the university campus district heat system. So that's a way of actually making it far more efficient by using that 40 to 50% cost for something else. What do you guys think? I know it's not gonna power Tesla anytime soon.
Right.
But who knows?
Well, you do, like you said, you do lose a significant amount of energy with the hydrogen conversion rather than doing some sort of battery or pumped hydro or lifting a weight to the top of a well and dropping it down when you need it later. But if you aren't leaving your fossil fuels, so if you're just going to convert the coal plant to steam powered by natural gas, you pump some extra hydrogen in with your natural gas, and it's not so bad, but it's not perfect. But like we keep saying, we can't expect perfect. We need anything in the step in the right direction.
I don't know. I'm more skeptical. I hope you're right, Kacey. I hope this is for the right reasons, but I think green hydrogen is the new clean coal. I just think it's so. If you have electricity, you are way better off using that to run a heat pump than you are to produce hydrogen to then integrate into natural gas. When we had Matthew Klippenstein on here, he was talking about some project in Canada that did that and how they could replace up to 10% of the natural gas. And I was like, oh, wow, that sounds great. I mean, I'd much rather it was 100% replaced, but 10% I'll take it. And then later I started looking into that because I thought it was a pretty cool idea and found out that the hydrogen only produces 2 to 3% of the energy that the natural gas would have created. So you've reduced the volume by 10% of methane, but now you have to use 7 or 8% more. So you have little to no net gain. And the whole process of producing hydrogen is very lossy. And which is why I said you're way better off using just transmitting that electricity, running heat pumps somewhere is going to be a much more efficient use of your of the electricity than it is going through this process.
Well, then I think my question would be, why do you think they're spending this much time and energy on this? Because this is a very expensive project.
Because anytime you put hydrogen in the mix with anything, then you can keep doing what you're already doing, whether it's pumping gas or running a coal plant or natural gas plant. So it's an excuse to delay, at least with the current hydrogen technology. Now, maybe if someday we find a catalyst where you pour water over a rock and out comes hydrogen and oxygen, okay, but I mean, I think that's why it's so appealing to all these old industries. It's because they don't have to change anything.
I mean,
exactly.
This is all coming from people who have made their money in fossil fuels for the most part. Siemens is a huge, not an oil producer, not a petrochemical producer, but they're a huge producer of turbines and power generating equipment, which burn things. And hydrogen's a thing you can burn, blended with natural gas or by itself. It's hard because in one way it's a step forward, and Patrick is absolutely right. There's just no one yet, even though we're producing the hydrogen with clean electricity, not electricity from a coal-fired plant or something like that. We're still like, we'd be better off pumping it into batteries.
Yes.
Arguably.
I will let you guys know about one project that is going on in Norway. Norway, of course, pretty far out ahead in renewable energy and what they're doing. They have gasoline supplies, but they sell them all. They don't use them internally.
Yeah.
What they're planning on doing is they have a $34 billion, billion with a B, project that's in the works to create a number of offshore wind turbines, okay? The size of the Space Needle, hundreds of these large wind turbines. They're going to build an energy island, they're calling it, that will link all of these turbines with undersea cables to get the electricity to this shore of an artificial island. Now, they've already figured out they got too many of these wind turbines to use all the electricity. Even if they're shipping it all back to Europe, they have too much electricity from the size of this field of turbines they're building or want to build. And their thought is to use some of it to create hydrogen on this island, and then to also offload the hydrogen to ships that would use it for cross transatlantic shipping. So, but the problem still exists that they're going to lose about 50% of the capacity of electricity in order to make hydrogen.
Yeah.
So that is still the problem. But they're saying we have so much extra electricity, and it all comes from wind sources, that we're going to build the green hydrogen from it. And we figured that it's a good way to use the surplus electricity that we're not going to use to ship it to the mainland.
Connect it to the Russian and African grids. They'll take care of it.
Right. If you build transmission lines and just run electricity and sell it that way, I think you would. Anyway, but a friend of mine just said, "Hey, I think you're going to love this book," and it's a sci-fi book whose name I'm blanking on. But he said, in this future sci-fi, everything is wirelessly powered, even like things throughout your home. And I'm like, well, why would they do that? And he said, because in this book they have renewable energy just in massive surplus, and so. Yeah, it's a 30% less efficient or whatever to power things wirelessly, but it's far more convenient. And because power is just everywhere, every renewable, way more than they could ever use. So everything is just wirelessly powered. And I was like, yeah, that's an interesting
Nikola Tesla's
idea.
goal.
Yeah.
I still have a question about this one in the article, though. Is what are they doing about normally when you add extra hydrogen to stuff, it becomes brittle and wears out faster.
Yeah, which is why they have to limit it. The brittleification of caused by hydrogen is a real problem. It interacts with a lot of metals and other things, so you have to have proper coatings in there, or you have to keep it below 15%, in some cases below 10%, because otherwise you get this brittle, and then you get cracks, and then you get gas leaks, and that's bad for everybody, explosions, and nobody likes that. Yeah.
So basically, they're just keeping it at that minimum threshold. That's why the numbers are so low.
Right. Yeah. You don't want the Hindenburg Gas Company to supply you.
And that's why they're not doing something like a stationary fuel cell, because then you need platinum and all that stuff. Versus
What was
burning
it, Paul? What'd you say, Paul?
It's a good name for a gas company.
Hindenburg gas, yeah. I want some of that. Well, suffice to say, it's these fossil fuel companies are going to develop technology that benefit them.
Yeah.
And in
And
one
greenwash
sense,
stuff.
and they're looking to greenwash their existing business models as long as they can. So it's one thing to applaud the step in the right direction. Yay. It's another thing to kind of look a little past that and go, but really, and the big problem is we just don't have a good way to store energy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not a good cheap way.
Not a good cheap, not even a good expensive way.
Well, we got those kinetic wells, and we got batteries.
Pumped hydro.
All we got.
Well, pumped hydro doesn't work everywhere.
Fat deposits.
Yeah, but nothing that really competes with burning something.
This is true. So I have maybe it's letting you off the hook, and we shouldn't do that. But I'm taken back to where Elon was talking about why the Model 3 battery had modules. And he says it's because we have a module team, so they made their battery with modules. It's just, that's all they could think of. Mm-hmm. But when he got rid of the module team, they just have a pack. So maybe they're used to just pumping stuff in and burning it. and that's the cleanest way they could think to pump something in and burn it. So they just
Right.
need to regroup about how they do things rather than
Yeah, that's exactly kind of what Russell was saying. Is there's a huge status quo bias, and if that's the model, I mean, Shell, for example, wants to sell you fuel, and if they can sell you hydrogen instead of gasoline, they can still make a business out of that, and they're probably happy with that, right? So,
Right.
but if you're fueling from electricity at your house, wait, that doesn't include us. We don't like that model. We want to suggest another one.
You guys remember the Honda Fill, where you could fill up natural gas at home from your gas company, and it would just compress it overnight? They killed that pretty quick.
Yeah.
I totally didn't remember
Not
that.
at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, PHIL, Honda Fill. You'd park your
There was
CNG Civic, it would take overnight,
natural
just like an
gas
electric car.
fueling station in your garage that was hooked up to the gas company.
That doesn't sound like a good idea.
It was slow. It was just like charging an electric car on level 1, and so
No,
in
but
the
I
morning
mean-
it was ready.
Having individual humans handle natural gas filling and not like that
People handle
sounds
propane
Bad
barbecues.
idea.
Yeah,
it was
not
just like
always
the
safely
hydrogen.
though, Paul.
yeah.
True, but it was just like the hydrogen stations are today.
But it was a compatible filler like at a hydrogen
Yeah.
station. So
Yeah.
it was, had
You had to
interlocks and
interlock it
safety
and-
things. And
Exactly.
Turn the
Okay.
lever. And, yeah.
I just
I didn't
you know,
hear of anyone blowing up their house.
I know enough
Car,
people
but
that
not
can't
house.
handle propane tanks safely. So,
Yes.
like carrying them into the Walmart or something like, what are you doing? Don't bring it in. Anyway. Well, enough of that. Thank you very much, Georgia, for keeping us
Good discussion. Yeah.
on top
I like
of
it.
what's going on. That's a good thing. Speaking of what's going on, let's go to our friend Mark Coughlin for This Week in Tesla.
This week in Tesla, nothing happened.
Hey, thank you, Mark. All right. And it's not that I want that, but just for the change of pace.
Just for the change.
There was only one
exactly.
thing that happened this week, just one.
Well, what happened this week is that Tesla has got involved with another new business. This time it's mining. Tesla has become a technical partner for a restart of a large nickel mine, which is in New Caledonia, which is in the South Pacific. It's an island. It's a French, used to be a French colony. I guess it's a French province or something at this point.
Protectorate, maybe?
Somehow.
It's still
Somehow
a colony.
Cousin.
It's
Yeah.
still flying the flag anyway.
Yeah.
So
They're still stealing resources.
Taking Texas.
so this large nickel mine, it has one of the largest assets of nickel in the world, and it's been because of the colony breaking away from France and France kind of dragging their feet. There's been some problems with the mine, with employees. They ended up stopping the mine production, and it has been stopped for some months now. And I guess France got involved with it and sold 51% of the assets to the actual island. So now they own 51% of this asset, and they're going to start it up again. Tesla was brought in as a technical partner to see if there were efficiencies that could be added and ways that they could make the mine, certainly more profitable. And of course, Tesla is looking for nickel. They're looking for nickel from everyone, and they're trying to get as much of it as they can. So this was a win for them to come into it and be a technical partner, and of course, have the ability to purchase whatever's mined, be first in line. So it's a plus for them that way. But since there is some of this political unrest, we don't know what's going to happen. There still could be bumps in the road as the island tries to succeed from France. If that's going to be allowed, we don't know. But it is an interesting thing for Tesla to be involved with. Like they don't have enough on their plate already. So it'll be interesting to see how this works out. Second, of course, the big news this week was FSD beta. So Elon had talked about releasing a new version of FSD, version 8.2, and he indicated that the number of beta testers was going to double from 1,000 to 2,000. He also indicated that the next version, 8.3, it was going to be 10 times that amount would be added to the beta program. So, and then at the end of his tweet, he basically said, oh, if anyone wants it, let us know. And of course, that flooded the airways. Every person with a Tesla email address started getting requests that this person wanted to be on the beta program. And most of them came from Kacey Green. But but Kacey was trying, like everyone else, to be put on that list because there's so many people that want FSD beta to try it and test it out and to use it that the Tesla airwaves were being flooded. It was so flooded that Elon was forced to come back on Twitter and indicate that what they were going to do is in the service area of the car, they were going to put a download button. So anybody that had the ability to have FSD would get this button. They could click on it, sign the agreement, and then the car would start to download the actual FSD beta once they have a Wi-Fi connection.
And these are only people that have paid for the app, correct?
These are only people
Right.
that have
Okay.
FSD and the proper computer, of course, to run it.
Yeah, me and Patrick.
Patrick's like, well, Patrick?
I even wrote him a nice email with like explaining why I was good for their popularity contest, because apparently that safest drivers became what appears to be a popularity contest.
Wow.
Yeah, I was like, hey, I got all these views. Let's go.
So that update's coming. 8.2 should be coming very shortly, and another 1,000 people are going to be added to it, and then another 10 times that amount will be added to it after that. So we'll watch for that.
12,000 Teslas running on their own.
Yeah, exactly. The other story that we wanted to touch upon was we all talked about last week about Texas running into a problem with resources freezing and them losing the electricity that was being generated from coal and from oil and from renewables as well. Well, it turns out that Tesla is building an over 100 megawatt hour battery project just south of Houston, about 40 miles in a suburb. So they're somewhat secretive about it because they're having a contractor build, not a contractor, an actual subsidiary of Tesla, not the same name. Oh, what's the name, Patrick? I've forgotten.
Gambit.
So it doesn't look like it's Tesla in the books, but of course, if you go there, which a number of people did once the news broke, they saw, of course, Tesla equipment, Tesla trucks, people with Tesla jackets building this particular energy storage solution. So this looks like Tesla has been asked to put in a number of different, battery solutions at this particular project to possibly help the grid in that particular area. Obviously, this is not going to help Texas as a whole, but it is going to help stabilize the grid in a certain area. So we'll have to see what is advertised about this particular site once it gets up and running and what the benefits are to the utility in the local area. But interesting to see that Texas is now on the battery train, or at least the people close to Houston are. So we'll have to see how this works out and what the benefits become to the population.
Yep.
It'd be kind of funny if that was just somebody that Tesla was contracting to, and it's like the reason all those employees were there is because they were putting in the equipment and they were going to jet out.
Right. So it was also seen that once the news started to leak about this, they had a number of people that went to the site and they were kind of shooed away, saying, hey, this is private property, you have to leave, you can't. No, we're not going to answer any questions. No, there's no reason that sign over there says Tesla, but it's half covered. There was a number of things that were going on. It was kind of weird. It's like they were trying to be covert about it. And
right,
of course,
which is very unlike Tesla.
Yeah, and of course, very hard to start throwing off all these people with drones and everything else that's trying to figure out what's going on. So as the news spread, of course, the secret just fell apart. But,
I wonder if it was a case of get permission later. So maybe they recently didn't want anybody to know, was because they didn't get everything all in a row. And now they got to pay market rates.
maybe. But again, it's tough to keep keep the Tesla reporters away from what's going on. So
Yes.
they probably should have got out in front of it and advertised or shown something about it or talked about this this new direction they're heading in, and that probably have been a better thing for them. But,
They could have even misdirected it a little bit because we already know they sell solar and they have batteries. So it's like, hey, this is just our interconnect agreement. So that next time this thing happens, we can get some of that $10 billion overage fee, and then we wouldn't even be looking.
So another win for AutoBidder. So
Mm-hmm.
we shall see. We shall see. But if you would like to get Tesla news throughout the week, please follow us at the Tesla Life on our Twitter feed, the Tesla Life #1 in Facebook, and of course you can follow us on our weekly show at the Tesla Life on YouTube. So with that, back to you, Russell.
Wait! You have a show?
Yeah, every week.
Le Tesla life.
Wow, I had no idea. Yeah, you mean like tens of thousands of people that follow you on Twitter actually watch your show too? That's crazy.
Well,
4 or 5 of them.
I didn't say that.
Oh, fair enough. Do follow Mark on Twitter at the Tesla Life. That is the hot Tesla account for good, high quality Tesla news, not that low quality Tesla news that you see everywhere. Let's move on to Mr. Guzik. Paul has a story about a car no one cares about.
Well, any electric car.
You make it so appealing.
Yeah. No, so the Volkswagen ID4 is, I guess, kind of shipping now. And one of their marketing ploys, which is actually a great idea, is if you buy their car, you get 3 years of public fast charging, including in the price. So they say, hey, free gas for 3 years. So that gets people's attention. Now, most people are going to charge it at home, but if you're a savvy consumer and there's a high-speed charging station in your community, maybe at a shopping center, you can go charge it there once a week, and maybe that will do what you need for the whole week. And of course, they're using the Electrify America network, which Volkswagen kind of paid for. But I came across a video this week on YouTube from the Engineering Explained fellow. I think his real name is Jason Fensky. Does some great videos explaining how cars work, EVs work. Worth checking out, Engineering Explained. But he test drove an ID4, and he was appalled at how much of a hassle it is to charge at these Electrify America charging stations that were kind of paid by Volkswagen. And in the video, he talks about you can drive up with a Tesla and just plug it in and it works. You can drive up with a Ford Mustang Mach-E, plug it in, it just works. You drive in with a Volkswagen, you drive in with a Volkswagen to the VW network charging station, you have to get out your phone, you have to tell what city you're in, which charger you're using, which handle on the charger. Like it's crazy that they haven't got it more integrated. And I don't know if they were told they had to make it a pain so that they wouldn't be favored by the charging network. But it's certainly not practical, especially to anyone who's used to charging a Tesla or some other modern EV. He did say the car's half decent, but the whole charging experience is going to turn off a lot of people. I mean, the fact that it doesn't even know what city you're in when you pull up to the charging station. You have to go on a Google map and point to the city you're in to tell it. So kind of goofy, but check it out at Engineering Explained. And if you go to a VW dealer to buy one of these, say, hey guys, why don't you get your act together?
Yeah, I liked the way he demonstrated it. He took the Tesla to the supercharger, plugged it in, said, all right, done. Then he took the Ford to the VW network, plugged the Ford in, done. Then all that faffing about with the VW. The one plus side to this, if they end up using it, is that VW is able to update this vehicle over the air. Right. And they actually are doing their first beta tests now of people who get the update first. Kind of like what Tesla's about to do with the full self-driving, I guess. But you have to email them and sign an NDA, and then you get it before anybody else.
Once they get that charging stuff figured out, it is cool to get 3 years of free juice.
That part is nice.
I had a customer who bought a Nissan Leaf, and
no charge to charge.
Well, his Leaf, he he drove it like 10 miles a day. He was a retired guy.
Oh, wow.
And the Nissan dealer in town had a free fast charger. So he'd go to the Nissan dealer once a week, plug in his car, sit in their lounge, read the newspaper, drink their coffee, hang out for an hour, and then go home. And he said he never plugged his car in at home the whole time.
Oh, wow.
It. So he kind of got.
So I'm not really understanding something. Why is it easy for a Tesla owner and a mach-e owner to charge at Electrify America stations, but it's not easy for a Volkswagen owner?
Yeah, because there's a protocol called plug and charge that's part of the SAE standard, and it's supported in those first two vehicles and not the third one.
Interesting. So this is strictly a software update in the vehicle.
It could be
This
hardware
is
too.
something.
Yeah, you're right, Casey. It could, because you have to have some communication path, but it has that. So I think it is just software. And not only that, Paul, this was a great video. He put in a trip to LA, and as you would
that was
expect,
awesome.
the navigation system plotted a route, including charging stops for him along the way, which is great. You want to make it as easy as possible. And you don't want to have to I'll tell you how to get there, but charging's on you, right? And I mean, one of the things that Tesla has is it has this charging network, and it tells you where to stop and charge and how long it's going to take. So his first stop was a J1772, and it told him he had to stop there for 9.5 hours at this stop. And then he pulls out his phone and says, look, here's another app, and it shows me how I can get there using the Electrify America route with fast charging, and I wouldn't have to stop for 9.5 hours. This navigation system obviously needs to be updated to include the network that VW built.
I paid for it.
It was just, it was ridiculous how poorly done. And we've all heard how Volkswagen fired the guy who was in charge of software, and they've had difficulties getting really good software. This is fixable, but they need to work on it. Absolutely need to work on it. It was sad how bad it was.
Yeah, and then he and Doug DeMuro both.
I find it strange that they released it like this. I mean, it's not like they're blazing new trails here. This is.
Software's not easy. It's probably going to take them 3 to 6 months to sort it out, and they didn't want to lose market share.
Yeah, because right now, if it's in the customer's hand or the dealer's hand, you're not paying on it. But if it's in your hands, you're paying on it.
This seems like a bad idea to do it this way.
agree.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
It's really ruining their reputation. I mean, oh wait, no, they have
Further.
Dieselgate, so maybe it's not that.
Let's be clear. Volkswagen's strengths have always been in the mechanical end of the cars. Even their gas-powered cars, the tech in them is abysmal.
Yes.
Jason and Doug DeMuro, they both pointed out how awful it was to interface with the center screen on that car, particularly the navigation. It was just like touch, move, and then like seconds later, you can actually see it do what you asked it to do.
Yeah.
Hopefully an update will fix that.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully.
So the reason that we have 2 Teslas in our garage is that when I bought my Model X, my wife started driving the Leaf, and she had a shorter commute than I did. And so that was good. But occasionally she had to stop and charge it. And there was this thing called Electric Avenue in downtown Portland. And getting that to work, every time she'd plug in, there'd be some error. She'd have to open the app. She'd have to make a phone call. There was also the AeroVironment, which now they've sold those off. Those had similar problems when we stopped in Woodburn at the AeroVironment station. And she was just, I hate this. Every time I try to charge, something goes wrong. It's not a reliable network. And having an unreliable network is almost worse than no network, because at least if there's no network, you don't depend on it, right? But when you said, okay, I need to go here, but to go here, I'm going to have to charge. And so when she made that choice and then got stuck and had to deal with all this fiddling with the app, I mean, like he goes through in this video, all the steps of, okay, I have to pick what city I'm in. I have to pick the charger. I have to pick what stall I'm in. I have to pick which side of it. Am I on left or right? And then, sometimes I get that wrong, and it is not user-friendly. And that's exactly the reason my wife said, look, I've seen how the Tesla works. You just plug it in and it charges. And that's what I want. So we got rid of the Leaf and we got a Model 3. And the other dealers, the other automakers have to make it that easy, or they're hosing themselves bad.
I'm a big fan of the VW bus just for the sheer nostalgia of the shape, honestly.
That's a sore spot for me.
It got held back
Uh,
another year.
but I got to be honest with you. To me, looking at this, it feels like they're making a car that they want to appeal to everybody. But the honest to goodness truth is, it's only going to appeal to people who are VW fans. And most of those guys are still driving their 1965 gas-powered VW buses. I just saw one today.
Yeah, the ID Buzz, that van, they've teased it for over a decade, and I feel like Lucy with the football with that one. And so, like every time I see an ad for it, I'm just like, "F you! You keep teasing me. I'm not gonna fall for it again." Yeah, so that's why I said like that one just is a sore spot. They played that card way too many times.
I mean,
It's going to take a fan to use this software. That's the thing. Convenience is king. And if they have to go through a lot of rigmarole, then the only people who are going to stick with it are people who are fans of your company.
At least some of the current automakers are starting to understand it. Like when it came to Ford, for example, they have it set up so you just plug it in and walk away. That's it. So there are some that are starting to understand that convenience is king, but many of them haven't lived it yet, and they're going to stumble over each other's feet until they figure it out, that the consumer needs this type of ability. Tesla knew how to do it because they ended up building their own network. They knew they had to have it. So these others that are relying on other networks, they better make it seamless, or they are going to pay a heavy price when it comes to sales, or reoccurring sales at least.
Absolutely. We heard that from Mary Barra at one of the big car shows, where somebody asked her, what is she doing for a charging network? And she effectively said, we make cars, the charging network is somebody else's problem. They've kind of walked back from that a little bit, but that's the attitude they've had, because, you know, they didn't build gas stations.
We don't make gas stations.
Yeah, and so they've had, this is exactly what we talked about earlier, about the fossil fuel companies want to try to do everything they can to maintain the status quo, even if it means, okay, we'll do a little extra work to go green, but we want to keep the same business model. No, that's just, things are different, and they're only looking through it through this old 100-year-old lens they have, and they can't understand. Which was a whole special that Russell and I talked about can the mindset evolve, or will they die?
You know, the number one factor in most consumers' decision to buy a vehicle is brand loyalty. And I don't know how many times, and probably all of us have, we've heard someone say, my grandfather bought brand X, my dad bought brand X, and damn it, I've been buying brand X since I was able to drive. And that is a huge, huge motivator. So yeah, VW's, because they're an enormous company with millions of customers, they're going to get some market share. The question is what they do with it. And I think you guys are right. They can't do their normal shitty job with technology and software that they get away with, because most of the people who buy a Jetta don't give a shit about the screen or the tech. They want to go fast in 6 speeds. They want racing tires. That's what they want, suspension. They don't care about this. Well, the market's changing, and adapt or die.
Well said.
A sporty electric car is a lot more expensive than a sporty gas car.
Yeah. Speaking of adapt or die, final story for tonight is a story that was reported by Jennifer Kingston on Axios. I don't know if you guys have seen the little Starship robots. Have you seen those? Do you know what I'm talking about? Let me show them on the screen. I have a photo from the story on Axios. See that little thing? It looks like a cooler with a flag. That's a Starship. Yeah, that's a Starship robot. Now, they have these in the UK, and they've been working and running around. And this is a remotely piloted, sort of autonomously driven little device.
Is it full of beer, Russell?
It is full of whatever the company puts in it and brings it to your house.
Medication, pizza, beer.
Yeah.
Nice.
Pizza and beer.
Ammunition, who knows what could be in it. So here's the thing, though, and the point of the story isn't so much that these things are coming. We've heard about Amazon drone deliveries, which are still the dumbest thing on the planet, but we're going to talk about it, I'm sure, as a country, not as a show. These little things, obviously, they run on the sidewalks. They don't run on the streets. And what we're seeing are states that are passing laws that are very favorable to the companies that want to use these devices to deliver them. And here's what I want you to take away from this story. Imagine your sidewalk filled with these little autonomous robots that are going to make deliveries to happy customers who love getting things delivered. One law in Pennsylvania allows these robots to weigh up to 550 pounds and go 12 miles an hour.
That would take out Granny.
That would kill Granny. Okay?
At 12 miles an hour, I think Granny's safe.
12 miles an
A
hour is-
500-pound robot at 12 miles an hour?
It's not being dropped on Granny.
But if it bumps her, I mean, and it's moving at 12 miles an hour, that's double the normal human.
That could take out your walker. I understand. Okay.
Yeah.
That's faster than a jog. A jog is what, 4 to 6 miles an hour.
If they were 100 pounds, and let's go back to when I was a teenager, I'd be flipping those things upside down on their back and like turtles. They'd be spinning around.
They would need a Paul Guzik
I'm sure
recovery
every
mode.
teenage boy is going to be vandalizing those things.
Yeah, why wouldn't you just kick it into the street? And we've seen that with scooters, right? There were a whole lot of scooters have been vandalized.
Well, I mean, people are going to find out very quickly, just like the Model 3 is always recording you when you're doing naughty stuff to it. Amazon's will be knocking on your door for flipping over their robot.
So, listening to our friend Ed Niedermeyer's show, the Autonocast, and they had someone from one of the micromobility companies on there talking about a similar issue, which was how the curve, when scooters are introduced, how many of them are vandalized or damaged or just put in inconvenient places. And that's a pretty short-term trend for the most part, according to him. It's certainly data that served his purposes. So take that with a grain of salt. I don't know. Here's my thing. When a private company is using a public way of access, whether it's a sidewalk or a street, and then paying nothing for it, that means fewer pedestrians can use it. That means there's an increased danger to pedestrians, especially the older ones, the disabled ones, children. And we're doing this in the name. I'm sorry?
And pets. It might run over your dog.
And pets. Yeah, well, yeah.
Because it's probably trained to look for people, but it might not be trained for pets.
It's increased wear and tear on the infrastructure.
Because people don't weigh 500 pounds.
Sidewalks are not meant for 500-pound vehicles, because honestly, that's a small vehicle to be rolling on it at 12 miles per hour. They are meant for humans and for human-powered vehicles. And if we're not recouping the cost for increased wear and tear on that infrastructure by taxing these companies for using this, in addition to the loss of actual jobs, because these are job replacement machines. They are meant to take the necessary human cost of running a business out of their pocket. We're eating the cost of lost jobs and also the cost to the infrastructure of the city by having them. So unless these people, creatures, companies are being hit with massive tax increases and fees to cover all of this, this is a bad idea, just in general.
Also, a singular human-operated vehicle is typically not allowed on the sidewalk. In most jurisdictions, a bicycle is illegal to operate on the sidewalk.
Right.
I will let you know that what's called
Starship?
Ship?
Starship.
That Starship product is no 500-pound vehicle.
No. Yeah, I didn't mean to conflate those two. Yeah.
No,
It's only about 60 pounds.
The thing is, the Starship and other companies
They're
like
still easy to tip over.
Yeah, Starship and
Those
other companies
teenage
like
cruise
Amazon have enormous amounts of money to lobby and get laws passed that are favorable to them. So right now, that current generation of Starship looks like a friendly little cooler with a little flag. I have a friend in the UK who every time she encounters one, posts a little picture on Twitter and like she helps them get out of the bushes sometimes and stuff. I mean, those are cute and adorable, but don't think that if the law doesn't allow larger vehicles, that those won't be deployed. And again, I really want to stress this. Life for a pedestrian is already pretty mediocre. Our sidewalks aren't well maintained. We put all kinds of signs and crap in the middle of them. The first thing we'd block up when there's road work are the sidewalks. So it's already bad for pedestrians. We don't necessarily need to make it worse.
I mean, do these things even give way to the pedestrians? And then, like you said, what about the Gen 2, Gen 3 when the thing is the size of a storage locker rolling down the sidewalk?
I mean, obviously they're not designed to kill pedestrians. At least
right,
not yet.
but if you're coming down the road and it's the sidewalk and there's room for one person or one machine, and the machine's already coming, does it wait for you to go by? Does it get in the grass, or does it? I'm the machine. I was here first.
These particular starships are designed not to interfere with humans. So if it does run into a human, it will actually stop and wait for the human to get out of the way.
Okay.
And the ones that can,
but others, and as they get bigger, obviously it would be bad PR for a 500-pound delivery vehicle to be running over 12 people on its route to deliver product. I think at some point they would probably be, the law would be changed and they would be charged with murder. But at the beginning, you're right. If they get laws passed, it's going to be more difficult. But there definitely should be a size and weight restriction for things that can use the sidewalk. It only makes sense because the sidewalk is for people, and it could be for little cute coolers like this one is. But if you get a 500-pound monstrosity, you definitely do not want it to be on the sidewalk with people.
Yeah, I mean, even if it's not going to run them over, if like I said, if the sidewalk is a narrow point because there's a sign in the way, and now you've got people who have to step in the mud because the machine won't move out of their way because it doesn't want to get in the mud and get stuck.
Or people who can't go off the sidewalk because they have a walker or some other disability and this is their route and that's how they get to where they need to go. That, you don't want
a human-powered wheelchair.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they need to make sure that they leave room for people in that situation. Absolutely.
I agree. And that was my whole point in bringing this up. So
wasn't it Bill Gates who said to have a robot tax?
Yes, he did. He talked about having a robot tax where if it's doing a job that a person would do, it should be taxed similarly so that it's contributing to society in a similar way. That was an interesting idea, the way that he phrased it.
I like that idea. Well, I think we've done our work here tonight. Let's do some shout outs and go home. And I would like to start with Mr. Mark Coughlin.
Well, if you're watching this program still at this point and you have not pressed that subscribe button, we really don't know what you're waiting for because it ain't going to get any cheaper. So please press that subscribe, give us a thumbs up, and that helps us out. And you're supporting the show in that way. So do your little part and it helps everybody and we would appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Mark. And do that. Yeah. YouTube.com/whatdrivesus. We appreciate that very much. Kacey Green, what's new in your world, sir?
Put out a smattering of videos. One of the ones I most enjoyed this week was I renamed it to "It Chased Me," where the Tesla Model X is chasing me through a parking lot.
Taking your car for a walk, huh?
Taking it for a walk, or a little run, actually. It got up to 6 miles an hour, and I was scooting away from it backwards. You can find that at youtube.com/Kacey Green. That's KACEYGREEN.
But was the Tesla on a sidewalk?
The Tesla was not on the sidewalk. I was. And it came right up next to the sidewalk chasing me down.
And how many pizzas could you put into your Tesla to deliver them?
Wow. I could put a smattering of pizzas in both the front, back, and under trunk.
See? There you go.
And like if I fold the seats down. Ooh.
Mr. Connor.
Hello, everybody. Hey, so this Dragon's Milk, this good stuff. 5 stars, yeah.
Dragon's smoke.
How do you milk a dragon?
Dragon's
Thank you,
milk,
Paul.
Yeah. You
Very carefully.
Yeah, very carefully is the right answer. Yes. If it's a male dragon, you made a friend for life.
We went there.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Hey, so everybody, like Mark said, we also have the Tesla Life. If you are a Tesla fan, come check that out. And I blog at carswithcords.net. Come check me out. And in just 5 days, I'll have a post about all the solar power that I generated in 2020. That was before we had our batteries. So 2021 is going to even be more interesting with how the Tesla battery interacts there. Thanks.
Back before Mark could store it, he had just a big Tesla coil in his front yard, and he would zap passersby on the sidewalk randomly.
Right.
He
yes,
had a big tub of water and he was making hydrogen.
I was not making green hydrogen, that's for sure. Yeah.
Damn you. Mr. Guzik.
I'm going to say something different. Since I enjoy watching those Engineering Explained videos, I'm going to shout out to Jason at Engineering Explained, and you guys should watch some of his videos. Maybe post a comment that you heard about him from What Drives Us in his comment section, and then come back and watch us.
Tell him he should come see us and we do a show together. That'd be fun.
Oh, yeah.
I like that.
Invite him. Yeah.
Thank you, Paul. Very good. And don't forget that you can go to boulderh.com and look at what amazingly cool electric and hybrid vehicles Paul has for sale.
Don't have many right now. We're sound like hotcakes lately. So.
Wow. Hard to keep the used ones in stock. That's like a industry-wide thing these days. Yeah. I've been looking for a used motorcycle. They're crazy expensive. Not that many for sale.
RVs.
I don't know. I'm just whiny. Someone who isn't whiny, Georgia McKenzie. Finish this off.
Mentally, I'm whiny.
Never in person, though.
I just want to shout out to all you guys listening to us. Thank you once again for joining us right here today. And also shout out to Patrick for an awesome title for this week's show. And I'm going to leave it there. So don't forget to please hit the like and subscribe button, not just for us, but for you, because we love you and we want you to get more of our content. And also we want you to go over to Kacey's and hit like and subscribe there, and hit the Tesla Life, hit like and subscribe there. Because sometimes they do these live things where they're online and they're talking about stuff and you can ask some questions and, you know, you need this in your life. You're already stuck at home. You might as well hang out with us. It's not like you have anybody cooler to hang out with. We're pretty darn cool.
We are pretty cool.
We're very cool.
Super cool.
Well, I'm going to say thanks to Georgia McKenzie, Mark Coughlin, Kacey Green, Patrick Connor, and Paul Guzik for being the best panel ever this week. And thanks to all of you for watching the show. As always, our thanks to Michael Mannering for our theme music. Visit him at manthing.com. And once again, thanks for watching. Tune in next week and find out what drives us.
Stay positive. That's negative.
Have a great week. We'll see you next time.